this hour's sport is going to be dedicated to an incredibly inspiring story. Richard Wright has survived brain cancer 3 times. Twice, he raced a full Ironman triathlon with stage 4 pituitary cancer. And over a 2-year span, he was so successful in those races that he qualified for a spot at the World Championships more than once. Last year, we interviewed him and his 2 girls, Mackinnon and Bailey. Since then, he completed the 70.3 Ironman in Durban with a broken shoulder, needing stitches to his mouth after being dumped by a wave, and in the process of chemo treatment for the cancer that had returned. He recently released his book, The Power of Purpose, How to Obliterate Obstacles and Triumph Over Impossible Adversity. It's a book that will remind you of some universal truths to living a more fulfilled life, but with a believability of someone who has been able to actually do it.
I've been wanting to write a book for a long time, and I got approached by a publisher, Tracy McDonald Publishers, and she said, how about it? And I said, great. And then there was the timelines. And if it doesn't happen, there's no pressure, it's not going to happen. But essentially, it was a very cathartic process of getting my life out there, my story, and I think trying to process what I've been through in the last 4 years, which has been big. So that was amazing. So to a large extent, I wrote the book for myself, and then for my 2 little girls. And then I guess for anybody else, it's not an autobiography, and it's not a self-help book, but it's somewhere in between. So it's the kind of book that might inspire you to take a look at your own life and inspire you to maybe think a little bit differently. That's really what it is.
Yeah. You're intimately honest with the readers, like putting in personal details, some about growing up, the armed robbery, finances, failed relationships that are not directly related to cancer. Why was this important?
That's a great question. So the cancer journey was a real journey of unbecoming. I think when somebody tells you that your time on this planet is limited and you've got this short space left, you start to look at yourself. And I think we spend a lifetime trying to become all the things that the people around us demand us to be, or at least we think they do, and the things we think we need to become to get to where we want to go in life. And when somebody tells you you don't have to be anything for anybody anymore, it's a gift of authenticity. At that point in time, you sit back and you think, well, who the hell am I?
The human condition is weird. We're all terminal and nothing is guaranteed. For me, that was one of the standout quotes in the book. And you also end it with the focus in on time and making the most of the time that you actually have while you're here on Earth. But you request your readers much earlier on in the book, if there's one thing that they actually take away from the book, it's this. Please just take away this, you write. Just start. Why is that the most important thing?
I think we hold back so much of our lives waiting for something. We've got this idea of a finish line. We've got this idea of, when I get to this place, I'm going to be happy. When I do that, then I've finally arrived. And so much of our life is on hold for that. And for me, it even in the worst times of the cancer, having to realize that happiness rests with me. And for all of us going through this COVID journey right now, and there's a lot of unhappiness, and there's for genuine reasons, but yet we're waiting for something to be happy again. We're waiting for the end of COVID. We're waiting to go back to normal. We're waiting to be able to hug our friends and family before we can be happy. And it was that realization that nothing has to happen for you to be happy, because happy is a feeling inside, and you're terminal. Anything can happen. Why am I the guy who's got a shortened lifespan? None of us know.
Faced Ironman a second time with stage 4 brain cancer. You mentioned some of the detractors who said that you may be aiding the cancer and actually hindering the chemotherapy treatments. Why was the mental aspect of completing the race to prove that you could beat cancer? Why was that more important than any physical drawbacks that it may have by actually competing?
That's the title of the book, Power of Purpose. That purpose, that overcoming overcoming obstacles, achieving things that people believe are impossible, gives you an incredible strength within, and that really is the power that it is. This feeling of, and I truly believe that overcoming something like cancer or any of the obstacles are more about what goes on between your 2 ears very often than anything else. And we can help ourselves by doing that. So what are the things that make you feel invincible? What are the things that make you feel that if I can do this, then I can also do that? So every single finish line was a case of, if I can do this, if I can get to that finish line, I've overcome, incredible things, the impossible, seemingly impossible. And if I can do that, I can beat brain cancer again. Or if I can do that, I'm proving to my 2 little girls that their dad is going to be fine.
For all the positivity that you encourage in the book, you say that hope is not the solution. And it feels like quite a foreign thing to say in this book that espouses positivity and having faith and being hopeful.
Sure. It is. And the funny thing is that I'm an ambassador for the Sunflower Fund. And the slogan is all about giving hope. But I love that because it's exactly the way I think about hope, is that hope is not a solution in itself. So if we sit back and right now where you are, if you're listening, wherever you are in your lounge, in your kitchen, wherever you are listening in, tuning in, if you're sitting back in the middle of this crisis and you're sitting back just, I really hope it's going to get better. I really, we hope we're going to get through this. Well, good luck to you. You know what? That means that you don't have control over the outcome. And hope is that thing that happens at the end of all the things that we do to try and control the outcome, and then we hope. So I love that idea of giving hope because it's an action. I am supporting the Sunflower Fund. I am a stem cell donor. I'm on the registry. I'm giving money. I'm doing whatever. And those actions are rewarding the hope of the people that have them. My action gives hope. So I dig that. But I think a lot of what we do is, I really hope. I hope you're feeling better today. Oh man, what can we do? What are the things that we can do that actually put some control on our shoulders, and then that comes at the end. That's how I feel about it.
So what's interesting is that you mention in your book that anybody can do this. Anybody can find that one thing that is their driving force in life. But I think many people, once they finish reading your book, they're like, well, you know what? I'm not sure I could do what he did. He did a 3:37 marathon inside a Ironman with stage 4 cancer.
That's not what I would want you to take out of the book. So what I've tried to do is to say, use the example and the thinking behind it. So that's the self-help part of the book, is that our thoughts determine our perceptions determine our reality, and our reality determines our behavior or action. So if we want to change our behavior, or we want to have changed actions, we first need to change how we think. And that really is what it is. And if you can change that stuff, wow, anything is possible. So here's a really good example of that, right? A lot of people are feeling right now they might not have any purpose or resilience and not be able to present with resilience. If you are in lockdown and you are homeschooling your kids, or throughout the last 4 months, you have been doing that, you're showing an incredible amount of resilience because you're doing something that you haven't been called on to do. And it's a big responsibility. And you've had to juggle that in between your partner, if you've got a significant other living in lockdown with you, and your job and your colleagues and your boss and demands. You've had to juggle a whole lot of balls at the same time. And as much as you might complain about having to homeschool or whatever, it's something that we do. And the question is, why do you do it so effortlessly? Where did that resilience come from? And in my mind, it's the purpose. Why would I want to do well at homeschooling my kids? Or why would I want to at least make sure that the kids are doing what they should be doing? Because I love my kids and I want the best from them and I want them to get through this calendar year. There's a purpose. So, what are the things that you do and that mean that much to you where resilience becomes easy? And all of us have got those examples. And it goes even further. If you had to write a list of the 10 things that you've overcome in your life, where you've had to demonstrate resilience, you write those things down. You'll look back and think, wow, I'm quite a machine, but we don't see it that way. And we allow all the present stuff to get on top of us and the fear of where we're going. And we don't realize that we actually have the power of that within us all the time. And we look at people that we think have got something that we don't and think, oh, well, yeah, okay, that was inspiring. That's great. Well done to him, but I'm not like him. Well, you really, really are.
Well, it's honest, it's authentic, and it'll leave you astonished at what a person can actually do when they put their mind to it. So there's going to be a virtual launch, an exclusive books virtual launch, which is free for everybody, on the 3rd of September. That's the power of purpose. And that is how we come to the end of Focus on Sport here on Morning Live.